Good morning. Today is a wonderful day to talk business. My name is Blyden Kim and it's Business 360 on Spectrum TV. In today's Business 360, we'll look at the key features in the world of business. We'll look at the thrills and the excitement, especially what happened yesterday, the opening ceremony of the BIS Innovation Hub Eurosystem Center. Well, Christine Lagarde, the president of European Central Bank, was part of that inauguration, and she gave a speech, and we'll begin from there. The BIS Innovation Hub Eurosystem Center is a joint effort by the BIS and all Eurosystem central banks, and it opens on 28 March 2023. The center's project focus areas will be decentralized finance, wholesale CBDC, cybersecurity, and green finance. The event celebrates the opening of the BIS Innovation Hub Eurosystem Center and took place simultaneously at the center's offices in Paris and Frankfurt. Talking about the inauguration, let's hear from the European Central Bank President, Christine Lagarde, and afterward we'll get to hear from Dr. Joachim Nagel, President of the Deutsche Bundesbank, who spoke in the event.
Much as you cherish me, rest assured of that. It's a great pleasure to be here today and to be in the company of those who are participating in this endeavor. See, I think of the Innovation Hub set up by the BIS initially, and I would like on this occasion to salute Benoit Curé, who was at the origin of this beautiful project, and I would like to congratulate Cecilia for having joined that team and leading it going forward. I see that as a cradle of innovation, and there are many fairies and good geniuses around that cradle. Think of 20 national central banks coming together in order to stir, emulate, leverage the diversity of our thinking, the depth of our expertise, with the purpose: innovation, transforming, disrupting, attempting, failing, succeeding, all of that, with national central banks behind you, which are taking risks. And of course, the center is hosted by the Bundesbank and by the Banque de France, and we are all very grateful to them for embarking on this initiative. But it will benefit from the depth.
That was Christine Lagarde, President of the European Central Bank, speaking at the inauguration of the BIS event. And the excitements are quite up for the Europeans and the opportunities in this event. Dr. Joachim Nagel, President of the Deutsche Bundesbank, also spoke at the event. Let's hear from Dr. Joachim Nagel.
Talk to my Bundesbank colleagues, because it's not fair to speak after these three brilliant and esteemed colleagues. Now I have the choice. But let me say following. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, we have all been eagerly waiting for this opening ceremony of the BIS Innovation Hub Eurosystem Center. It's a great pleasure to have you here, and I'm really so delighted to open this center today together with Christine, Augustine, François, and so many other colleagues. All the procedural hurdles have been overcome. François alluded to some of these hurdles. Everything is set up. We are ready to jointly explore the future. In my view, it is important to forge ahead, because digital progress won't wait for us, and its pace is breathtaking. We must take action collectively, and you said it today, Christine. I think this cooperation, this is so important when we're talking about all these technological changes. 16 weeks ago.
That was the state at the BIS event. Up next would be comments from Michael Barr, amid the recent bank failures and the federal regulatory response. The Committee on Banking, Housing and Urban Affairs met in open session hybrid format to conduct a hearing on recent bank failures and the federal regulatory response. The witnesses were the Honorable Martin Grubeck, Chairman, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the Honorable Michael Barr, Vice Chairman for Supervision, Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System in the U.S., and the Honorable Nellie Liang, Undersecretary for Domestic Finance, U.S. Department of Treasury. Following recent bank failures, it would be a good opportunity to listen to the responses from Honorable Michael Barr, Vice Chairman for Supervision, Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System, when he met the politicians in the country and was questioned regarding this.
Do you agree with President Biden's statement 2 weeks ago that Congress should strengthen rules for banks to make it less likely that we will see another failure similar to that of Silicon Valley Bank?
Thank you, Senator. I think it's important for us to strengthen capital and liquidity rules. We're working on strengthening them as part of our Basel III reforms and our holistic review of capital. And I think we need to move forward with that. And as both Chair Grunberg and I suggested, with a long-term debt requirement that would provide an additional cushion in addition to capital for large institutions. That work will need to go through notice and comment rulemaking. There will be transition periods for it, but I think that is really important work for us to do, and I'm committed to doing it.
Well, let me ask you, Mr. Barr, this morning I, along with Senator Rounds and other members of this...
The co-founder and chief executive officer of Paystack, Shola Akinlade, has bought a 55% stake in second division Danish club, Aarhus Fremad. The deal, which was announced on Tuesday, will see Aarhus Fremad become a sister club to Sporting Lagos FC, a Lagos-based football club in the Nigerian National League founded by Akinlade in 2022. According to a statement by Sporting, the deal will create opportunities for European exposure for its best teams and further help its effort to develop youth football in the country. Akinlade is investing in football in Nigeria and is spending a lot of money still in Nigeria. The National Bureau of Statistics has revealed that domestic air transport fares increased by 66.36% in the last 1 year. In its latest report titled Transport Fare Watch February 2023, the NBS stated that the average fare paid by air passengers in air travel for specified routes for a single journey decreased by 0.18% on a month-on-month basis from 74,702 naira in January 2023 to 74,571 naira in February 2023. It, however, rose by 66.36% year-on-year from 44,825 naira in February 2022. Amid fuel concerns, the jet air fuel concerns, and the difficulties in the aviation industry, fares are bound to rise. Still looking at businesses in the country, Zenith Bank PLC grew its gross earnings by 24% from 765.6 billion naira as of the end of 2021 financial period to 945.5 billion naira in the corresponding period of 2022. The bank disclosed this in a statement on Tuesday on its audited results for the years ending December 31st, 2022. As part of its commitment to shareholders, the bank also announced a proposed final dividend payout of 2 naira 90 kobo per share, bringing the total dividend to 3 naira 20 kobo per share. According to the banks and its impairments, it grew by 107% from 59.9 billion naira to 124.2 billion naira, while interest expense grew by 63% year-on-year from 106.8 billion naira to 173.5 billion naira respectively. That's the gains from Zenith Bank. And we'll move to the NMPCL outlook. NMPCL to boost oil reserves to 50 billion barrels. The ongoing oil exploration in Nigeria's frontier basins is to grow the country's crude oil reserves from 37 billion barrels to 50 billion barrels according to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. NNPC also commenced the official spud-in, which means drilling, for crude in the Ebeyi A well in Obi local government area of Nasarawa State on Tuesday, and stated that the well would support in hitting the 50 billion barrels oil reserves target. This is coming 4 months after NNPC flagged off oil production in Kolmani Oil and its well, located between Bauchi and Gombe states, in November 2022. The Group Chief Executive Officer NNPC Limited, Malakiari, told the audience at the Ebeyi A well sites on Tuesday that the oil firm had moved a drilling rig to the location and was optimistic of boosting Nigeria's daily oil output to about 3 million barrels. That's the outlook from Nigeria's point of view regarding businesses and opportunities in oil reserves. Let's move to global economy. Straight to Germany. Germany's consumer climate rises for 6th month. Germany's JFK consumer climate indicator increased for a 6th consecutive month to a negative 29.5, heading into April, the highest since July, and compared to forecast of negative 29.2. Income expectations were the main contributor, prompted by recent drop in energy prices, especially for petrol and heating oil. Let's look at the chart indicating Germany's JFK consumer climate. The chart has shown huge negativity in the consumer climate in Germany. For the 6th consecutive month, it's actually improved, but still in the negative zone. As of July 2022, it was at negative 27.7 point index and dropped further to 36.8 negative and negative 42.8 as of October 2022. But a slowdown began an improvement in climate confidence in Germany. At January 2023 was at negative 37.6, moving away from 42.8 negativity, and went further upward to negative 29.5 as we approach April 2023, indicating improvement in the climate conditions for businesses in Germany, but still in the negative zone. Good time to look at commodities in the market. Looking at the metals as well as agricultural markets. But the question is, how Congo aims to double copper production? We'll get to hear from the Finance Minister of Congo. Democratic Republic of Congo's Finance Minister, Nicolas Kazadi, discloses this 2030 objective of 5 million tons, along with plans for cobalt, coltan, gold and lithium production, and of the need for Congo to extract greater benefit from the minerals that have historically been exported. Meanwhile, President Felix Tshisekedi has shown his willingness to challenge some of the existing Chinese mining investment in the country. Let's hear from the Finance Minister of Congo. Well, while we are waiting the minister to have a conversation, let's move to the market to see what the metal market was this morning, the ideals of this market, the agricultural market, rather the metal market, copper, gold price and silver, and afterwards we'll get to look at the energy and the agricultural market. The market this morning is indicative of some positivity for some of the metals and a slowdown for some of the metals too. For gold, gold prices dropped slightly this morning by 7.02 points, $1,966 per ounce in current price, a negative 0.36%. For silver, it's a little here, a little there, not really gaining this morning, but $23 per ounce. For copper, copper price is at $4.1 per pound, moving up slightly by 0.0174 points, a 0.43% appreciation, but steel has gained 30 points this morning. Current price for steel is 4,151 Chinese yuan per ton, and that's the outlook within the metal market. Let's have a view of the energy market then to see what US dollars, not US dollars, US crude, the WTI crude and Brent crude, which is Nigeria's price and benchmark, is saying. Crude oil this morning, 74.1 US dollars per barrel for US crude, the WTI crude, upward by 0.945 points. For Brent crude, which is Nigeria's price benchmark, is 79 US dollars per barrel, a slight movement upward of 0.77 points, a 0.99% appreciation. For natural gas, a little here, gaining by 1 point this morning. Gasoline, same story, just slight gain this morning. Heating oil is slightly downward, and coal slightly upward this morning. The agricultural market then. The agricultural market would be indicative of the prices for wheat and soybeans. Soybean this morning, slightly downward this morning by 1.5 points, a negative 1%. Current price, 1,466 US dollars per bushel. For wheat is 706 per bushel this morning, upward by 6.7 points, a 0.96% appreciation. Lumber is downward by a negative 3.95 percentage points. Malaysian ringgit in terms per ton for palm oil, 3,709 Malaysian ringgit per ton, upward by 22 points, a 0.6% appreciation. That's the outlook within the agricultural markets and the commodities. Let's look at the state of foreign exchange markets, beginning with insights. Yen proves its safe haven status amid banking straits month on month. That's the beginning of the picture of what we have to talk about. It would be an insight from Ira Imstan. Let's hear from Ira.
Main reason for that is that this is unfolding. We saw certain markets become safe havens for traders. Japanese yen, the gold market, the bonds, and the notes. Those were the standouts. Why the yen though? What does that have to do with being a safe haven? Well, the main reason for that is that the yen is artificially kept with a very low interest rate because the Japanese government for many decades has been trying to generate inflation. Very difficult, small population, not able to get the inflation really getting up and going. So what traders look at, they'll say, hey, without big inflation rates, without big interest rates, why not move to that? Avoid what's happening in Europe and in the United States, and it's become a safe haven. That is the reason why the Japanese yen gets a bid as a state inflation. Very difficult, small population, not able to get the inflation really getting up and going. So what traders look at, they'll say, hey, without big inflation rates, without big interest rates, why not move to that? Avoid what's happening in Europe and in the United States, and it's become a safe haven. That is the reason why the Japanese yen gets a bid as a safe haven.
That is a picture of the Japanese yen. Let's get to talk about further commentaries from Dan Daming. Strong Australian retail sales data helps the Aussie futures regain the 67 handle. Dan Daming discusses more. Let's hear from Dan.
Experiencing some higher price action today. Australian dollar higher for a second session, and today's price action has pushed the buck up almost 1%, just shy of 1% currently at the 0.67295 level, so just shy of the 0.673 handle, and basically on the highs of the session. And when you look at some of the driving factors today, I think there's a couple things to point to. Number one, retail sales release early in the session, stronger than anticipated, so I think the market's reacting to some degree to that data point. Couple that with the general trends that we're experiencing in the FX markets today. Most of the major FX markets are higher on the session, pushing that dollar lower on the session. And I think that that's also helping to support the Australian dollar. Now, CPI data will be released, early in the session in Australia, overnight session here in the US. So I think a lot of market.
Thank you, Dan, for the outlook. Let's move to the market and see the pictures in the market in real time, what it's saying, the euro against the US dollar, and afterward, the US dollar against the naira. The forex market this morning have shown some positivity for the US dollar, moving to the 1.08 point mark after crossing the 1.7 mark. Well, the concerns had been in recent times for the euro, but the US dollar is struggling recently and is indicative in the market. For the pounds against the US dollar, current price is 1.23, US dollar equaling £1, moving upward slightly in the morning market, a 0.05% appreciation. The Aussie dollar, the Australian dollar, is struggling slightly against the US dollar. Let's see Naira's perspective in the market against the majors. The US dollar against the Naira is still lingering around the 459 mark, not crossing that level. Over the past 1 month, it's been the same story. For the euro against the Naira, the euro gained 1.81 points over the Naira at the close of yesterday's market. For the pound against the Naira, current price 566 Naira equaling £1 at the international and exchange window, a 1.92 points gain for the pound against the Naira. Let's move to the parallel market then to see Naira's performance in the parallel market amid all these changes in the international and exchange window. The dollar to Naira buying rate is 744 Naira equaling $1, and selling rate 740 Naira equaling $1. Pounds to Naira buying rate is 920 Naira on the average to £1, and 904 at the selling rate for Naira to £1. For the euro to Naira, it's 798 Naira equaling €1 on the average for a buying rate, and selling rate 784 Naira equaling €1 on the average. A look at the cryptocurrency market too would add some sense from a digital perspective. Bitcoin has gone back upward, gaining 1,080 points this morning. Current price $28,340 for one Bitcoin, gaining by 3.77 percentage points. For Ether, it's $1,815 for one Ether, gaining 40 points this morning, 2.29% appreciation. Binance is doing well, Cardano doing well, Solana doing well, Ripple's also doing well this morning. The cryptocurrency market is regrouping. Let's also look at global stocks as we're about to draw the curtain to this business area. European shares rise today. European stock rose as investors welcome better than expected data from Germany and positive news involving China's technology sector, while concerns about the recent banking turmoil eased further and boosted risk sentiments globally. German consumer morale improved for a 6th straight month, as we talked about earlier, into April, hitting its strongest level since last July. Elsewhere, Chinese tech giant Alibaba announced major reorganization plans to unlock shareholder value. In corporate news, UBS Bank nominated Sergio Enotti as new group CEO on Wednesday, following the recent acquisition of troubled lender Credit Suisse. Germany's Infineon raised its outlook for both its fiscal second quarter and the whole of 2023, while Aroundtown reported a full-year net loss of €457 million and said it was suspending dividend payout due to market uncertainties. There was also news that Kuwait's Sovereign Wealth Fund is planning to reduce its stake in Mercedes-Benz via the sale of 20 million shares. The Nigerian stock market. Some investors in the Nigerian stock market lost 341.09 billion naira yesterday after the equity capitalization depreciated from Monday's 29.28 trillion naira. The loss dragged the market capitalization down by negative 1.16% to 28.94 trillion naira after hours of trading. This followed the 626.14 basis point loss in the all-share index, which fell to 53,124.63 points from 53,750.77 points previously. Let's look at the top gainers. PZ led the gainers list with a 1 naira rise in share price to move from 10 naira 40 kobo to 11 naira 40 kobo per share. The bottom losers. Chams topped the losers table after shedding 8% to drop from 25 kobo to 23 kobo per share. The top volume then. Transcorp led the day's trading with 61.49 million shares valued at 85.3 million naira. This is it on Business 360. My name is Bladukin. Thank you for watching.